So, getting back to we had you on a little while ago. Things were pretty heated, I guess, between yourself and the executive of the Wild Rose Independence Party. Now, we'll need this explained. I know you're still out there. You're serving as leader. You're holding town hall meetings. You did one in Southwood recently, but at the same time, the executive is claiming that they have an interim leader. You're no longer the leader, and they're just moving ahead. What's going on?
Well, like usual, they're not really doing anything in public, but they love meeting their little secret meetings and organizing and I don't know, pontificating on things. But we got to talk to Albertans. It's exciting to be out. There's just so many issues. And you talked earlier about Tamara. Albertans should be up in arms. Our government should be up in arms and saying, bring her back. I mean, how many years ago was it that we put out $10.5 million to an individual that was supposedly wrongfully, detained? This is just unbelievable to me, and we need some leadership in government to reach out and stop this insanity. And I don't know, it's frustrating. Again, who can believe that we've gone from the wokeism of climatology and the fact that climate is changing, which, by the way, folks, it's always changed, to saying that they're going to reduce fertilizer, and yet in their back breath they talk about humanity and the importance of bringing up, reducing poverty and feeding the world. That their actions actually show who they are. These are not good people. They don't have good motives. They want to hurt humanity. They want people to be dependent on government. They want us to own nothing. And we need some leadership. We need a government that's actually going to be there to protect the individuals, their rights, their life, their liberty, their property, their pursuit of happiness. And all of those things are being undermined. And we just need to get out and I guess reach out to Albertans. And I love your statement, go woke, go broke. Boy, does that pertain to government more than anywhere. Our governments have gone woke, and we're running massive deficits, a 1% interest rates today. What's that going to do to people that their mortgages are coming due? It's shameful.
Yeah, well, and I mean, pivot it back. I mean, especially as conservatives, we're sometimes our own worst enemies. Drew Barnes has been the only elected official, really, and it's Tamara Lich is his constituent, and he's been speaking up and speaking out on her behalf. But the silence from the UCP on an Alberta constituent on this, of course, has been deafening. But Drew is also an example of if you speak up too much, you get kicked out of your party. And likewise, I still want to kind of get to questions with the Wild Rose Independence Party. You've got an AGM coming up in a week and change. What's going to happen there?
Well, I think our members are going to take our party back. But again, when you're up against a cabal that has, the communications locked down, the website locked down, they basically, put a stranglehold on every area of our membership and putting out their, ridiculous letters and the slanderous letters. They're shooting ourselves in the foot. And it's very discouraging, that I don't know whether you want to call them plants, gangsters, whether they're agents of destruction. You've been fighting the independent movement longer than anything, Corey, and you understand. But boy, you really have to wonder, some of these individuals that they've come in to make sure that we're not successful. And I have great faith in our memberships here on the 23rd of July. At Baymont in Red Deer, our members will take the party back. We can't have a cabal of 10 destroying our party in the future for Alberta.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to talk about, because that's what kind of surprised me when I talked with you and Rick Northey recently was, okay, there's some disputes, there's some problems. That's hardly new in the parties. We know that all too well. But when you have an AGM coming that close, that's when ideally you'd say, well, let's throw it out on the floor at the AGM. We're going to have the members here, and this is when we can hash it out, instead of trying to radically change the party 10 days before an AGM and leave members without a choice. So I imagine, you're going to be attending that AGM, and
yes.
I hope it's a productive one.
I think it'll be very productive. And again, one of the sad things that we all realize is what people are like when they're intoxicated or high. And it's a real problem in our society when people get into that. But the thing that I've realized more than anything when it comes to government and power and these institutions is that people become intoxicated and high with power. And again, they're just drunk and not thinking reasonable. And like I say, I have great faith in the members stepping up and saying, we don't need you anymore to tell us what we can and can't do. And you don't respond to our emails, and you don't, there's been such a disconnect. And again, it goes back to what we're talking with climate change. These woke individuals and woke politicians who want to reduce fertilizer and take away, cheap fuel that helps, an input into our basic life and living. And it's the same with inside government and our current board. There's a cabal of them. It's not all of them, but the majority. And they've just kind of, like I say, they're grasping at every angle they can. The information is hard to get. We don't even know who's up for elections. And it's very disappointing to see the way they're operating and what they're going to do going into the AGM. But the members are fired up, and they want their freedom, and they want their party, and they want to save Alberta.
That's it. And it is frustrating. I mean, I want to see a good competitive election. I want to see multiple parties really making a push. And unfortunately, when you're spending more time putting out fires from within rather than getting ready for an election in less than a year, it makes it difficult. And there is so much to push back. As you said, there's irrational people. And, drunkenness is almost a good comparison. Like I said in my opening monologue, I mean, these are World Economic Forum type people. These are elitists. These are ones that don't understand what it is to have difficulty paying the rent or feeding the family. As I said, it's National Frank and Beans Day. I was laughing about that as a comfort food, but that's also a food that you feed when you're a parent because you can't afford much for kids. And these imbeciles are trying to ban fertilizers and fossil fuels. It's absurd, but they're disconnected from the realities of the majority of the world.
Yes, I've said many times, I think I said it last time I was on your show, these are economic imbeciles that are sitting around the table eating chicken nuggets, plotting on how to get rid of chicken farms. And now it's the same thing. Now they're plotting on how to get rid of fertilizer. They don't know what it's for, but they've been told, oh, it hurts the atmosphere. I'm sorry, that's actually, you want to go green? Fertilizer is what produces green, fertilizer and water. And yet they want to attack these things. They want to reduce people's consumption of them. And it's just wrong what they're doing. And there's two things, Corey, I guess that it's really boiling down to is trust and truth. And we have very little trust in our government, in our organizations, whether it's the WHO, whether it's, Alberta Healthcare, whatever it is, the Alberta Education, that the trust has been diminished, if not, eliminated for many people. And then the truth. And they won't tell the truth. CO2 is not a toxin. It's not a pollutant. It's plant food. And if they went to Biology 30 and studied it, they'd realize the cycle of CO2 and plants and oxygen and how important it is. But they're about fear-mongering. They're about scaring you. They're about saying that you can't do it on your own. You need big brother, big government there from cradle to grave. And that's their goal. And again, it's disappointing to hear the front runner, who I absolutely say is the best of the pack, is now wanting to give away more money. How about reducing our taxes? How about making healthcare accessible instead of another ploy? And this is a problem that we have in this even so-called conservative movement, is more promises. What we need to do is promise to reduce the size of government. We need to promise to leave money in your pocket, not taxing it. We need to promise to let you have your freedoms, not saying what businesses you can and can't do. We need to reduce the regulations, say, if you want to travel, you can. Give us back our constitutional rights. All of these core issues are being pushed to the side with little trinkets and sparkly items and a few flashing dollars saying, oh, vote for me. And it's sad. And that's why the Wild Rose just needs to take back our party on the 23rd and be there for Albertans to actually have something that people can vote and believe in instead of the best of the worst.
Well, and I've seen things that kind of have to get worse before they'll get better. And they are getting worse. And kind of, as I said in my monologue, when people can't pay the bills, when they can't feed the family, they're going to get up. And it doesn't matter how much you warn them about how the temperature is going to go up a degree in 50 years potentially, or a tree frog in some obscure place. They're just worried about their immediate bills, and they're not going to take it. So I guess the goal is, though, there's always that risk when people are ready for radical change because they've had enough. We're just going to make sure it's positive change, because sometimes, of course, when people rush in a panic to change, they can take a negative path as well. So it takes some planning and some electoral options and wisdom, I guess. We got 8 months to work on this.
That's the scary thing, Corey, is that if you wait until you're desperate, till there really is food shortages, till the price is to the point where you can't pay your bills and sustain your family, then you end up with mob mentality. And that's not good. It's terrible. And we need to give that food security, fuel security to Albertans and realize that it is here and we can protect it. But I don't know. It's just so discouraging to look at Trudeau and Biden and the world leaders and their ploy to say, oh, we're going to save the world because the climate catastrophe is here. I mean, even Mayor Gondik, calling a climate emergency. Do these people know what emergency is? No, they don't. The Emergency Act, just that in itself, I've come to realize after the flood in High River in 2013 in Calgary, you got to let people be free to protect themselves, their property, and do things. And when government steps in, I'm sorry, the outcome is diminished, if not, I want to say complicated, made worse. And there's just so many opportunities that we have here, and it's critical that we're able to get out and talk to Albertans and let them realize there is a viable option. You don't have to vote for the best of the worst. You can actually vote for what you believe in. And that's what the Wild Rose Independence Party is about and why we're here. And we need people to come out to the AGM and oust this cabal of individuals who want to destroy all of that.
Well, and that's how I kind of want to close it out. So that AGM is in about 10 days. Where can the people find out information, or can they contact you, I guess, because the information from the party is now sort of limited?
I haven't actually gone to my website to see if it's up there, paul@paulhinman.com, but it should be on the party's website, wildrosenation.com. But if not, yeah, give us a call at 1-888-262-1888 or email me at paulhinman@gmail.com.
Okay, and the AGM is going to be in Red Deer it's open to all members.
23rd, yeah, 23rd of July at the Baymont.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure we'll send somebody from the Standard there to watch. Hopefully, something productive comes out of it. We just want to let everybody know what's happening and let your members sort things out how they will.
Yeah, continuation of Wild Western days.
It is that. All right. Well, thanks, Paul, and good luck in the next little while. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Corey. You take care and keep up the good work. And again, let's support independent news.
Great. Thanks, Paul.